All right.
Here is today's learning target. Find unit rates for ratios with two fractions.
All right, so just like last class when we were finding the unit rate, we're doing the same thing. This time both numbers are going to be fractions.
The acai berry comes from the acai palm tree found in Central and South America. Acai bowls contain frozen and mashed acai berries mixed with other fruits and toppings. Noah makes an acai bowl using 1/4 cup of bananas for every 1/3 cup of apple juice. He wants to know the number of cups of bananas per cup of apple juice he uses when making the bowl. You can use a double number line to show the relationship between the cups of bananas and the cups of apple juice. Which ratio of cups of bananas to cups of apple juice is shown on the double number line?
All right, so I'm going to do the first section. Then I'll do the first question of the second section, and then I'll call on people for help. All right, so cups of bananas to cups of apple juice. So cups of bananas comes first. Cups of apple juice comes second. So cups of bananas is 1/4. So the first number needs to be 1/4. Cups of apple juice second, 1/3. So the second one needs to be 1/3. So that means the second one is going to be the answer.
Which ratio of cups of banana to cups of apple juice is equivalent to 1/4 to 1/3?
All right, so on this one, the denominators need to be the same. So it needs to be 4 and 3. So this one's wrong because it's 3 and 4. 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. Then I got to multiply the numerator by the same number on both of them. So let's try this one. 1 times 3 is 3. So I got to do 1 times 3 for this one. 1 times 3 is not 2. So this one's wrong. 1 times 2 is 2. Then so I got to do 1 times 2 on this one. 1 times 2, oh, is 2. So the third one is the correct answer.
One-fourth plus 1/4 is 2/4, and 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. Let's continue building the double number line. Which ratio of cups of banana to cups of apple juice is also equivalent to 1/4 to 1/3?
All right, remember, denominators need to stay the same. So 4, 3. So 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. Oh, this one's not good. It's 3, 4. Then you got to do the same thing. 1 times 3 is 3. So for this to be good, I got to do 1 times 3 on this. 1 times 3 is not 4. So this one's not right. 1 times 4 is 4. So I got to do 1 times 4 on this one. 1 times 4 is not 3. So this one's not right. 1 times 3 is 3. So I got to do 1 times 3 on this one. 1 times 3 is 3. So this is our correct answer.
Two-fourths plus 1/4 is 3/4, and 2/3 plus 1/3 is 3/3. 3/3 is 1 cup, so the rate is 3/4 of a cup of bananas per cup of apple juice. Faith is making an acai bowl with 4/3 cups of fruit for every 1/2 cup of almond milk. Faith wants to know the number of cups of fruit per cup of almond milk she uses when making the bowl. Which ratio of cups of fruit to cups of almond milk is shown on the double number line?
All right, so we got cups of fruit to cups of almond milk. So cups of fruit comes first. That's 4/3. So this one's not right. And this one's not right. Cups of almond milk comes second. Cups of almond milk is 1/2. So the second one needs to be 1/2. So this is not right. So that means this one is right.
How much fruit does Faith use per cup of
So
almond
now
milk?
we're back to what we were doing last class, dividing fractions. So you got cups of fruit to cups of almond milk. So fruit over almond milk. So that's going to be 4/3 over 1/2. And just like last time, the top divided by the bottom. So you do 4 over 3 divided by 1 over 2. When you divide fractions, you keep the first fraction the same. So 4 over 3 stays the same. You change division to the opposite operation, which is multiplication, and you flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. So 1 over 2 becomes 2 over 1. Then you just multiply. 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 1 is 3. So you got 8 over 3 as your answer.
That's right. You can also use the mixed number 2 2/3 to represent the cups of fruit. James makes an acai bowl using 3/5 cup of almond milk for every 1 1/2 teaspoons of cashew butter. James wants to know the number of cups of almond milk per teaspoon of cashew butter he uses when making the bowl. How much almond milk does James use per teaspoon of cashew butter?
All right, so now I'm comparing almond milk to cashew butter. So I got to do a new fraction. So almond milk comes first, so it goes on top. Almond milk over cashew butter, because that comes second. So then I'm going to look at the number line. Almond milk's first, so 3/5. 3/2 is the cashew butter. So I got 3/5 over 3/2. And then to get the unit rate, I just divide. So I got to do 3 over 5 divided by 3 over 2. When you divide fractions, keep the first fraction the same. Change division to the opposite operation, which is multiplication, and flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. So 3 over 2 becomes 2 over 3. Then you just multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 3 is 15. So our answer is going to be 6 over 15.
That's right. You can also use the fraction 2/5 to represent the cups of almond milk.
All right, so we're entering the second section. I'm going to do the first one, then I'll call on people for help.
A car's gas mileage refers to its rate in miles traveled per gallon of gas. Kara's family is thinking about renting a camper that can travel 3 1/2 miles on 1/3 gallon of gas. Kara wants to know the gas mileage of the camper. You can use division to find the unit rate. Which complex fraction represents the camper's gas mileage in miles per gallon?
All right, so on this one, it says miles per gallon. So miles goes on top, gallons goes on the bottom. 3 1/2 miles. Now, I don't see 3 1/2 here, so let me look at my gallons. Gallons is 1/3, so I know 1/3 needs to go on the bottom. So I know this one can't be right. So it's got to be one of these. So it looks like I need to convert 3 1/2 to an improper fraction. The way you do that is, hold on. All right, so to convert this to improper fraction, do the denominator times the whole number. So 2 times 3, which is 6. And then you add the numerator. 6 plus 1 is 7. So your new numerator is 7. And then, the denominator stays the same. So it's going to stay 2. So 3 1/2 is equal to 7 halves. So that means this one's not right, and this one's not right. So our correct one is the last option.
Good job. Which division expression represents the camper's gas mileage in miles per gallon?
Whoops. So this one says miles per gallon. So it's just the top divided by the bottom. So 7/2 comes first. So that's wrong. That's wrong. Divided by the bottom. So the bottom's 1/3. So this one's wrong. So the correct option is the first one.
What is the camper's gas mileage in miles per gallon? Simplify the expression.
All right, so when you divide fractions, you keep the first fraction the same. You change division to its opposite operation, which is multiplication, and you flip the last fraction or the second fraction to its reciprocal. So 1/3 becomes 3/1.
Nice.
So then you just multiply this out. 7 times 3 is 21, and 2 times 1 is 2. So you got 21/2.
The camper gets 10 1/2 miles per gallon of gas. Kara's family is thinking about renting a van that can travel 3 3/4 miles on 1/5 of a gallon of gas. Kara wants to know the gas mileage of the van. Which fraction represents the unit rate in miles per gallon?
All right, we'll go with Sergio. Which one of these represents the unit rate in miles per gallon?
Miles first.
Okay, miles on top. So which one of these has 3 3/4 miles on top?
Can you say it one more time?
All right, so the miles is 3 3/4. So that means we need 3 3/4 on top. So which one of
Yes.
these is 3 3/4 on the top?
The second one.
That's just 3/4. We need 3,
Can I do it first?
3 3/4.
Can I do it first?
Oh.
If he can't get it, you can do it for him.
All right.
Last one.
All right. How did you decide it was the last one?
Because you sorry, my mom was calling me. Can someone help me on this
Oh
one?
yeah, Quincy, can you help explain how it's 15 over 4?
Because they like showed what it was like what it was all the way like really what it is like
So you got
what
it.
3 3/4 is like what 3 3/4 is. It's 15 over 4. So
Yeah, you got to do the denominator times the whole number. So 4 times 3 is 12, and then you add the numerator. 12 plus 3 is 15. So your new numerator is 15,
yeah,
and the denominator stays the same.
I get it.
Yeah. And then the gallons, you already saw that's 1/5. So this is definitely the right one.
What is the unit rate in miles per gallon?
All right, Quincy, how do you solve this? How do you get the unit rate?
Oh, you multiply, right?
You always do the top divided by the bottom.
Oh,
So 15 over 4 divided by 1 over 5. All right, so when you divide fractions, do you keep the first fraction the same or flip it to its reciprocal?
you keep the first fraction the same.
And then do you change division to its opposite operation or keep it the same?
Opposite
And what is the opposite?
multiplication.
And then do you keep the second fraction the same or flip it to its reciprocal?
No, you change it. You like flip it.
All right. And then what do you do?
Get your answer.
All right. So what's the answer?
Uh, hold up. Mhm. 75 over 4.
Yes. 70. Oh my gosh. 75 over 4.
That's right. Here is how to write the answer as a mixed number. You can compare the number of miles and gallons in a different way. How many gallons of gas does the van use to travel 1 mile?
How many gallons of gas does the van use to travel 1 mile?
All right. So Quincy, you can go 18 and 3/4 miles on 1 gallon of gas. Is it going to take you more than 1 gallon of gas to go only 1 mile? Or is it going to take less than 1 gallon to go 1 mile?
Less than? Less than?
Yes, less than. You're the first person to get that right. The other classes, they said more than. Because they're like, oh, 18 and 3/4 is bigger than 1. So it's more than. But it's less than because if you can go 18 3/4 miles on 1 gallon of gas, that means you can definitely go 1 mile, which is way smaller than 18 3/4 miles on less than a gallon. Oh, whoops, I said.
The van travels
That's what you said.
18 3/4 miles on 1 gallon of gas. So to travel 1 mile, the van will use less than 1 gallon of gas.
I clicked on the wrong one. We said it was less than, but I accidentally clicked on the wrong one.
Which fraction represents the unit rate in gallons per mile?
All right, so on this one, Quincy, how do you do gallons per mile?
It's the first one.
Yeah, the gallons is 1/5, and the miles is 15/4. So that is correct.
What is the unit rate in gallons per mile?
All right, so Quincy, how do you do this? What do you do to get the unit rate? Quincy, are you still there? All right, I'm gonna do this one. I'll call on somebody else for the next one. So this one's almost done. You do the top, divided by the bottom. So 1/5 divided by 15/4. So when you divide fractions, you keep this first fraction the same. You change division to its opposite operation, which is multiplication. And then you flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. So 15/4 becomes 4/15. So you do 1 times 4, which is 4, and 5 times 15, which is 75. So our answer is 4/75.
That's it. The van uses 4/75 of a gallon of gas to travel 1 mile. That's only about 1/20th of a gallon of gas.
Hold on.
Kara's family is thinking about renting an SUV that can travel 6 2/3 miles on 1/6 of a gallon of gas. Kara wants to know the gas mileage of the SUV. What does the complex fraction 20/3 over 1/6 represent?
All right. So it's gonna be Kayla Reyes' turn.
Miles per gallon. Miles per gallon.
Yes, that's correct. Miles per gallon. Because the 20/3 is the 6 2/3, and the 1/6 is the 1/6.
What is the SUV's gas mileage in miles per gallon?
All right, so Kayla Reyes, how do you get this answer?
Divide 20/3 divided by 1/6.
All right, so when you divide fractions, do you keep the first fraction the same or flip it so it's reciprocal?
Keep it the same?
Yes, that's correct. And then for your division sign, keep it the same or change it to the opposite operation.
Change it.
So what?
The opposite operation.
Yeah, what is the opposite operation?
Multiplication.
All right, and then do you keep the second fraction the same or flip it so it's reciprocal?
Flip it so it's reciprocal.
All right.
Reciprocal.
So then when you multiply that out, what do you get?
I don't know.
You say you don't know?
Yeah.
All right, what's 6 times 0?
0.
All right, and what's 6 times 2?
12.
All right, so 20 times 6 is 120. Then what's 3 times 1?
3.
All right,
1. 3. 3.
then we're going to divide this. What's 12 divided by 3?
4.
And then what's 0 divided by 3?
0.
So this is going to be 40.
Great. How many miles can the SUV travel on 25 gallons of gas?
All right, so Kayla Reyes, if it can go 40 miles on 1 gallon, how many miles can it go on 25 gallons? I've never heard of an SUV that can go 40 miles on 1 gallon.
1,000
All right, how'd you get that?
multiplied 40 times 25.
Yes, that's correct. 40 times 25, which is 1,000. All right, good luck.
All right, Bert, I'm gonna hit you up later.
All right,
Who you got tonight? Blake or,
Yeah. Tim.
Well done.
Yeah. Tom Brady can't lose that. All right, we got one more section.
A turtle travels 5/12 of a mile in 1/3 of an hour, and a snail travels 1/8 of a mile in 3/4 of an hour. Which animal is faster? First, estimate each speed. Complete each statement.
All right, so I'm gonna do the first question in the section so you all can see what to do. Then I'm gonna call on people. All right, the turtle's rate is less than or greater than 1 mile per hour. It's gonna be greater than, because in 1/3 of an hour, it goes 5/12 of a mile. So to have the whole hour, you need 3/3. So you're gonna have 5/12, 5/12, and 5/12. So if you have 3 5s, that's 15 from 5 times 3. So that means you have 15/12. And whenever your numerator is bigger than your denominator, your answer is bigger than 1. So since 15 is bigger than 12, it's going to be bigger than 1 mile. The snail's rate is less than or greater than. So on this one, 3/4 of an hour is almost 1 hour. So if you double 3/4, that gives you 6/4, which is more than an hour. And if you double 1/8, that's 2/8. And you're already at over 1 hour and you're still not at 1 mile yet. You're only at 2/8 of a mile. So that means this one's definitely less than.
Now let's compare the unit rates using division. Find the turtle's speed in miles per hour.
All right. So we got to divide fractions. Miles over hours. So the miles over the hours is 5/12 miles over 1/3 hours. So now that you got the problem set up, you just do the top divided by the bottom. So 5/12 divided by 1/3. When you divide fractions, keep the first fraction the same. Change division to its opposite operation, which is multiplication. And flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. So 1/3 becomes 3/1. 5 times 3, 15. And 12 times 1 is 12. And that's what I had told you all before we even did the problem, off the mental math. 15 over 12. And since the numerator is bigger than the denominator, it's going to be bigger than 1.
That's right. You can also think about the turtle's speed as 1 1/4 miles per hour. Find the snail's speed in miles per hour.
So for the snail, it's also miles per hour. So on the snail, you got 1/8 mile over 3/4 hours. So to get the unit rate, you do the top divided by the bottom. 1/8 divided by 3/4. And when you divide fractions, keep the first fraction the same. Change division to multiplication and flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. 3/4 becomes 4/3. 1 times 4 is 4. 8 times 3 is 24. And since the numerator is smaller than the denominator, that means this answer is going to be less than 1. It's 4/24.
That's right. You can also think about the snail's speed as 1/6 mile per hour. Complete the statement.
One and 1/4 miles is less than or greater than 1/6. This is going to be greater than, because this is 1 in something and this is 0 in something. So since this number is bigger and that goes with the turtle, that means the turtle is faster.
An owl travels 8 1/3 miles in 3/4 of an hour, and a seagull travels 12 1/2 miles in 2/3 of an hour. Which animal is faster? Estimate each speed by comparing the distance and time. Complete each statement.
All right, Kayla Moss. Does the seagull travel for more time or less time than the owl?
I'm gonna say more.
The seagull, the seagull is 2/3, and the owl is 3/4. When you do 3 divided by 4, it's 0.75. And when you do 2 divided by 3, it's 0.67. 0.67 more than 0.75 or less than?
Less.
This is going to be less. And then this one's easier to compare. Is 12 1/2 longer or shorter than 8 1/3? Twelve and a half. Is that a longer distance or a shorter distance than 8 1/3?
Shorter.
So you think 12 is smaller than 8?
It's longer.
Longer, because 12 is bigger than 8.
Now compare the rates. Find the owl's speed in miles per hour.
All right, so Kayla Moss, miles per hour. Is that miles over hours or hours over miles?
Miles over hour.
All right. So we need to convert the miles to an improper fraction. So what does 8 1/3 become if you convert it to an improper fraction?
25 over 3.
All right, how'd you get that?
Because 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25. And then keep the denominator the same.
All right, good job. So you got 25 over 3 over how many hours?
Three over 4.
Right. So now that you got your fraction set up, how do you get the unit rate? All right. What's our division problem?
25 over 3 divided by 3 over 4.
Yes, that's correct. And when you divide fractions, do you keep the first fraction the same or flip it to its reciprocal?
Flip it.
The first one always stays the same.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the second one.
What about the operation? Do you keep division the same or change it to its opposite? And what is its opposite?
Multiplication.
And then you said you flip the second fraction, since you said that you thought I was asking about that first. So 3 over 4 becomes 4 over 3. And what's 25 times 4 and 3 times 3?
So, quiero que
25 times 4 is 100.
Yes.
quiero que escribas tu nombre.
3 times 3?
9.
Good job. We got 100 over 9. Now we got to do the other one.
That's right. You can also think about the owl's speed as 11 1/9 miles per hour. Find the seagull's speed in miles per hour.
All right, for miles per hour, Kayla Moss, is this miles over hours or hours over miles?
Miles per hour.
All right, so miles over hours. Then how do we make 12 1/2 a improper fraction?
Divide.
No, you're actually going to be multiplying and adding to make it a fraction.
Oh.
So you said 8 1/3 was 25 over 3. What's 12 1/2?
With the date and name. This is your name, nombre, fecha.
It's 25 over 2.
How'd you get that?
Because 12 times 2 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25. And we keep the denominator
All
the
right,
same.
good job. And what's the hours?
2 over 3.
How do you get the unit rate?
So número 1 right here. Número 2.
Divide, right?
Número 3. Número
So how do you do that?
25 divided. Oh, 25 over 2 divided by 2 over 3.
All right, when you divide fractions, do you keep the first fraction the same or do you flip it to its reciprocal?
The same.
All right. All right, and then do you change the do you keep the division sign the same or change it to its opposite?
Change it to its opposite. The X sign. Multiplication.
And then do you keep the second fraction the same or flip it to its reciprocal?
Flip it till it's reciprocal, whatever.
All right, so then when you multiply this out, what do you get? When you multiply this out, what do you get?
So you said multiply
Yeah,
the
top times top, bottom times bottom.
75.
Over what?
Oh, 75 over 4.
All right, that's our answer.
No, you're right. You're right.
That's right. You can also think about the seagull's speed as 18 3/4 miles per hour. Complete the statement.
All right, so 18 3/4 miles is less than or greater than 11 1/9 miles.
Talking
Yes.
to me. Oh,
Okay, how many do you have done?
Is the 18 less than the 11, or is the 18 greater than the 11?
greater.
So does that make the owl faster or the seagull faster?
Then owl.
The owl's actually slower because the owl only goes 11 miles, while the seagull goes 18 miles.
Oh,
The seagull's faster.
I'm in my slow moment.
Got one more question. So let's see if Armani left. So it's
A jellyfish travels 3/5 of a mile in 1/6 of an hour, and a walrus travels 5/6 of a mile in
Yes.
3/10 of an hour. Which animal is faster?
All right, Sergio. Hold on.
Find the jellyfish's speed in miles per
All
hour.
right, Sergio. Miles per hour. Is that miles over hours or hours over miles?
Miles over hours.
All right. So what's our fraction going to be?
3/5.
All right. Over.
And 1/6.
All right. And then how do you get the unit rate?
By
All right.
dividing
So
it.
what's the division problem?
3/1.
3/5.
I mean,
All
3/5.
right. Divided
Divided by 6/5.
by 1/6.
I mean, 6
All
over
right, it's going to
1.
be 1.
I mean, 1/6.
All right. So when you divide the fractions, you keep the first fraction the same or flip it so it's reciprocal.
You keep it the
And
same.
then for the division sign, do you keep it the same or change it to its
You change it to multiply.
And then the second fraction, do you keep it the same or flip it so it's reciprocal?
You flip it.
Right? So when you multiply this out, what do you get?
That's a
That's
6.
a 6. 3 times 6. All right.
18.
And then 5 times 1.
5.
So what's our answer?
18/5.
All right. So now you got to help us with the second part of the problem.
That's right. You can also think about the jellyfish's speed as 3 3/5 miles per hour. Find the walrus's speed in miles per hour.
All right. So miles per hour, is that miles over hours or hours over miles?
Miles over hours again.
All right. And what's this fraction going to be?
5/6.
All right.
And 3/10.
All right. Now how do you get the unit rate?
Dividing it.
All right. What's the division problem?
5/6 divided by 3/10.
When you divide fractions, do you keep the first fraction the same or flip it so it's reciprocal?
You keep it the same.
All right. Do you keep the division sign the same or change it so it's opposite operation?
Change it to us opposite.
And what is that?
5/6 times
All right.
10/3.
Yeah, you change the second fraction so it's reciprocal or flip it. And then what do you get when you multiply this out?
50.
All right. 50 over what?
18.
All right. So one last part to this question.
The complex fraction 5/6 over 3/10 represents the walrus's speed. Use division to simplify the fraction.
Well, it's like the fourth time I'm hitting the 0. Why is my 0 not working?
That's right. You can also think about the walrus's speed as 2 7/9 miles per hour. Complete the statement.
All right, Sergio. 3. What was this?
Greater than.
All right, so who's faster?
Jellyfish.
Correct. Good job.
Let's review what you learned today. You found unit rates for ratios with 2 fractions. Which statements describe the rate 3/2 over 5/8 miles per hour? Choose all that apply.
Kayla Reyes, which division problem is correct?
The screen glitched. Hold on. Okay. Which statement describes the unit rate is equal to the
Just the division one. That's the one I'm having you work on right now. So is it the bottom left or the bottom right?
bottom right.
Yes, because it's the top divided by the bottom. So we know this one's correct. And that means that makes the other division problem wrong. Now we got to find out which one is correct out of these two. So I'm going to show you a trick on how to do that. So when you have a fraction, like I told you earlier, when the bigger number, when the top number is bigger, it's bigger than 1. So on our top fraction, 3/2, is the 3 bigger or is the 2 bigger?
Mr. Gilbert, I completed my quiz.
3.
All right, great. So you can work on reflex math.
All right.
All right, yes, the 3 is bigger. So since the 3 is bigger and it's the numerator, that means that this answer, 3/2, is going to be bigger than 1. Because whenever your numerator is bigger than 1, whenever your numerator is bigger than your denominator, the answer is bigger than 1. All right, and then for 5/8, which one's bigger, the 5 or the 8?
The 8.
So is that 5/8 going to be bigger than 1 or smaller than 1?
Smaller than.
Right, because when the denominator is bigger, then the answer is smaller than 1. So now, even though you don't know what those numbers are, you know that the 3/2 is bigger than 1, and you know the 5/8 is smaller than 1. So now knowing that, if you know the numerator is bigger than 1 and the denominator is smaller than 1, is that answer going to be bigger than 1 or smaller than 1?
Bigger.
All right, why is it bigger?
Because the number that goes on the top, I don't remember, is it? Oh, the numerator?
Yeah.
The number on the top? Yeah, the numerator is bigger than the denominator.
Correct. So which one of these is going to be right? The top left or the top right?
Top left.
All right, good job. That's right.